Coach. We'll just get first overall thoughts on that match.
Yeah, it felt a lot like TCU. I thought we came out and we started to play our style of volleyball in the third set and got into a competitive match, and we need to do that earlier. So that'll be the conversation we're having with the team is how do we get to that level against a good team where we're going to have to battle for 5 sets at an earlier point. So disappointed. We need to figure out how to get started a little bit faster.
I know with the blocking week that y'all have had last week, teams are going to do different things. Have you had a team tip y'all that much and that successfully this year? Yeah,
that was a good pickup by you. No, I thought we actually did a good job kind of settling into that by the end. And we started to realize that they were going to tip and that we needed to go for it. And I didn't think one really fell that got us in trouble down the stretch in the third and fourth. So I was happy the adjustment was there. But again, we're a pretty good blocking team and teams are going to adjust, but we got to make a move a little bit faster on our side.
And how much do you think was the third set kind of figuring out how to play out a system a little bit once you did get off those blocks?
Yeah, it was exactly that. And the one thing we've talked about is just we're going to play better teams. And instead of taking control of the match, we need to take control of each rally. And I think we're starting to figure out how to do that. I thought we got there in the third set of this. And again, the third set against TCU. And good teams are going to get digs. They're going to get block touches. And we can't be frustrated by it. But you got to get back and then, again, take advantage of those opportunities that we do have within the rally. But I think that's something this team is figuring out.
First and second set, y'all seem to be out of system, which made y'all seem a little uncomfortable almost.
Yeah.
Can you speak on that and kind of like how y'all could get better at that possibly?
Yeah, I actually thought the second set we settled in. And I think our passers did a pretty good job. And I got to go back and watch the match. And our offensive numbers got a little bit better in the third and fourth, but I still think based on the way that we passed and credit to our passers, we can be a little bit higher. So I'm curious to go back and watch that. It'd be nice if we can get some video replay so we can actually see stuff in the match, but sometimes it's hard to see from the sideline exactly what's going on. So we'll work on that a little bit tomorrow and then have a good chance to go out against Liberty and play a different style of volleyball.
And what changes did you tell them to make or did you see that were made to kind of make that offense and defense produce more effectively in that third set?
Yeah, I think kind of what I was talking about before of taking control of rallies. If we're not going to get a kill, we got to cause some trouble on their side. Just because I thought we were kind of being passive and giving them a ball, and then they were running their full offense at us. So I think we did a better job of that, which I think on both sides of the ball we got some more kills because of. And then on the flip side, they weren't as efficient just because they weren't grooving every single time we were chipping the ball in. And then I think just some emphasis on picking up the tips and rolls that were discussed. And I think we did a really good job of that and put those in the right place. And then we were able to run our offense and get some kills immediately. So I would say those are the two biggest adjustments.
And can you speak a little on that change in libera's from Lauren to Ava in that second set?
Yeah, Ava's been doing a really, really good job in practice and matches. So I've been talking to her about, hey, I got full confidence if we need to make a change there. And I thought today that Ava's best would have been better than Lauren's best. And she came out and played a really good volleyball match.
Coach, you talked about it being about your team on Monday, and that's kind of what you focused on in practice. I know it's immediately after this one, but what do you think needs to be the biggest focus ahead of Liberty?
Figuring out how we show up like we did in the third set and the first set. I don't think it's broken. We just need to get to it faster. So that's the conversation once I get out of here we'll be having as a team. It's just how do we get to that point from the first set? And especially, again, against good volleyball teams, like you don't have time to wait a set or two to get jump-started. You got to do it right away, and you got to pick off the first set. Then they might win the second, and then again it might go 5. But you got to be ready to grind for 2.5 hours. And I think right now we're kind of waiting to see what happens.
What do you feel like you guys are doing in terms of, not just adjusting to that initial counter that you guys have to do, but I guess the process, even going back to TCU, like responding to their counter to your counter?
Yeah. Again, I thought we did a good job today. I think even we could have done a better job adjusting the tips and the rolls a little bit earlier. And just as a coach, it's really hard when you go out and the team isn't kind of firing the way that we should. Like your eyes more on, hey, how do we get our stuff figured out before we start figuring their stuff out? And then once we had that, it was like, all right, here's the adjustments we need to make. So again, for me, the biggest thing is just how do we jumpstart everything that we're doing from point one? And then it can be like, all right, let's make an adjustment to what they're doing. But again, at least the way I coach, it's like, hey, we got to play our style of volleyball before we start worrying about what the opponent's doing. And I thought it kind of went in that order today.
Houston returns 4 players from last year's squad and made the Sweet 16. A really experienced team, had 3 graduates, 2 seniors, really experienced. Do you think that played any part in them coming out really firing early?
Can I go Bill Belichick style and just say yes? Yeah, I think again, I think part of the growing part for our team is just we're not going to get everything all at once. And we got to be willing to grind within a rally. And I think some of that is the groups of veteran team that's played against some really good volleyball teams. Again, went to the Sweet 16 last year and did it in the tournament where, again, it gets harder and harder with each round. And I think we're learning that. We need to learn it a little bit faster. But I for sure think that's a piece of it.
There were a couple calls tonight that didn't go y'all's way at first, and then you challenged it, and then it went y'all's way. How do y'all keep momentum in situations like that?
Hopefully we'll learn to use that challenge system a little bit faster. It's not the referee's fault. It's the technology's fault. And I hope that's changing sometime in the near future. Yeah, it's hard. There's a lot of breaks in college volleyball. And if I can get on some committees, I think this game is about kind of continuous flow and people want to see people playing volleyball. So across the board, I don't think there's a reason why our timeouts need to be 90 seconds. We don't have, I saw an eye roll there. The DJ is getting bored up there. But I don't think the timeouts need to be 90 seconds. I think the gap maybe between sets is fine at 3 minutes. I think immediate timeout's fine if we need those things, but the replays need to be faster and the technology needs to be there to do it. Again, the world I came from in international volleyball, they're keeping those things to 20 seconds at times. And I think our average is 1 minute and 3 or something like that. And the SEC is one of the fastest. So I'm big on selling our sport as a whole of trying to produce this thing in a way that's really, really entertaining. And I think that's a big piece of it. So it's getting better. It's a point of emphasis with the referees. The technology needs to catch up is the biggest thing.
I've noticed when you have those challenge type situations, you look to the court and kind of get a quick 2-second committee. How much are the players involved in that kind of conversation, that discussion?
Yeah, we watch video after every weekend, and I think 2 weekends ago we watched it, and there were 2 plays that I didn't even realize were close, just because again the angles, they have such a better angle of the sport than us because we don't have a replay and have to watch it from the sideline. But I was like, hey, I need you guys to be more definitive. If you think something's in or out, you need to look over at me and be like, hey, it's in, and not like, hey, it's in, the question at the end, but it's in. So I trust them quite a bit. There was one early in the first set that I think probably we might have gotten, but again, going to technology, they don't pick up every single block touch. I was surprised how many got overturned tonight. But I trust them a lot. And I asked them just kind of when we're in there to give me their honest feedback on stuff. But trust me if I'm not going to challenge something, just because again, the likelihood of us getting a block touch is a lot different than an in and out call, for example.
Sweet. All good. Perfect.
Yeah. Thank you guys for your interest too. I do appreciate it.
First UT frat.
I heard about it and I'm like, this is awesome that the rivalry is that big that a fraternity from the other school in Texas will send somebody down to a volleyball match. One, it made me feel really kind of like, all right, volleyball matters, that people are coming down here, but they were loud. I just thought, I told our team, I said, hey, the best counter to this is 1, ignore them, but 2, get more people to show up than them so we can't even hear them. And I think the 12th man did that. They drowned him out. We drowned him out. I looked over at the DJ at one point and looked over at our intro music and that drowned them out. But I think it's awesome. I think, and I'm really, really excited for them to come into the SEC and for that rivalry to be reestablished. I think it's going to be a good thing for our sport and the SEC as a whole.
Thank you.
Thank you.